Yeah, so we Holy Grail. Any thoughts on the warm-up? Does it feel good? Some good old CSS to kind of like get our minds going. So today we're going to continue our adventures in JavaScript and try to add a little bit more life to our program. So yesterday we did a relatively simple app for homework, right? A scoreboard. Click a button, you add one to it. A few of you had questions for how to make it a little bit smarter. Now, when I say smarter, it's if the score is below 0, do not subtract 1, right? Because you can't have a negative score in those sports. You can't remove that many points away. So how would we do that? Well, we use something called if-else statements. So if-else statements are a programming construct that's based around a new type called Boolean. So remember our types from yesterday. We had a number, right, which was all numbers. We had strings, which were any sort of words, anything that wasn't a number. And we also had a function, right? That was the third type that we chatted about yesterday. Well, today we're going to be adding a new type called Boolean. Booleans can be one of two values, true and false. True means yes, and false, of course, means no, right? So what can we do with this? So with this, we can do something called if statements. So if statements help us to give a little bit of logic that we can put inside of our code. So let's look at this little chunk of code. We have const need coffee equals is cup empty. Let's assume that returns a Boolean, true or false value, whether the cup is empty or not. If the cup is empty, it returns true. If the cup is empty, it returns false.
You just said the same thing twice.
Probably.
If the cup is empty, it's true. If it's not, it's false.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. So if I need coffee, so if need coffee is true, can everyone see this in the back? I blew up the text a little bit, so it should be better. So if we need coffee, it's going to run this, evaluate this, check this value true or false. If it's true, it's going to run this top block of code designated by the squiggles. It's going to run that top block of code. Then it's going to skip the else. Then it's going to run relax. So if it's false, it's going to check this. It's not going to run this, and it's going to run the else. So it runs the if part if this condition is true, and it runs the else part if the condition is false. So now we can have branches inside of our code to say, if something is true, do this. If it's not, do this. Add a little bit of decision. So how does this apply? So if we recall last night, we had our add one and subtract one. Inside of our subtract one logic, we can put if score is 0, then do not subtract 1. Or if there's a max, like if it was a game to 15, we can say if score equals 15, then display the winner. How are we feeling so far? So far, so good? Thoughts, questions?
Can you read that code bit by bit again?
Yeah.
Understand the logic again?
So const need coffee.
Which comes from the...
It comes from a function called is cup empty. Returns a true or false. So if I need coffee, so if this is true, I'm going to run refill coffee. I'm going to skip the else, and then run relax.
Okay. And if it's not true, else.
Yes, so if it's false, I'm going to skip the first part, run the else, and then relax.
So just because it's between the brackets, it's telling if it's true that.
Yep.
Not brackets, parentheses.
Mm-hmm. Feeling good?
A need coffee is what you have inside the box, right?
Yep. Right.
And that's a yes or no.
Right. It'll return a true or false. I mean, you start thinking in terms of true or false, 1 and 0, on and off, but it's true and false. So this brings us to a next topic of something called Boolean logic. All right. So this is a simple way, a mathy way, but a simple way to get some new Boolean values. So we're going to introduce 3 new concepts here, and or not. So the goal of these is to come up with some sort of true or false value for some conditions. So if we had a whole bunch of conditions that are true or false, we want to condense that into one true or false value. So like for this first one, constant nice outside. The double ampersand means and. And will return true if both of the values return a true value. Okay, I thought you were getting ready. Yep, nope. So nice outside is only true if it's sunny and it's not too hot. If it's too hot or it's not sunny, if either one of these are false, then that's false.
So they both have to be yes
Yep.
in order for it to consider to be nice outside.
Yes. So it needs to meet both of those conditions, not just one. It can't be the right temperature and raining. It can't be sunny but 120 degrees. So it has to meet both of those criteria. Almost the opposite, what I think about as the opposite of that, is the or. For or, designated by 2 pipes, only one of those has to be true in order for that whole expression to evaluate down to true. So with that, it goes off the side. So should I watch a movie?
Got a little scroll bar on the bottom there.
Ooh, I do. How about them apples? Whoop. So should I watch a movie is true if it's a good movie or it's raining outside. And the last one that I want to chat about is the not, symbolized by an exclamation point in JavaScript and in most languages. It just flips the Boolean value. So if it's true, it'll become false. If it's false, it'll become true. So it's the opposite. So if it's day, is night will be false, or sorry, true. Yeah, it will always be the opposite of if it's day. Whoa.
For the is not, is there supposed to be a space between equals
Oh yeah,
and they're together, right?
yeah. There should be a space right there.
They're supposed to be?
Yeah. Can I go in and change it? No.
So the exclamation point important actually means not.
Exactly. If only that were true. If only that were true.
What?
A little bit of CSS and JavaScript mixture there. Feeling good so far?
I tried last night on the scoreboard. I tried the equal value, but it gave me a mistake. So Chris pointed out today it has to be 3 equal values.
Yes. Give me about 2 minutes. I believe the third slide coming up is all about equality, which is a little fun. So we have the basic Boolean logic. Our if statements revolve around what is true and what's false. These next 2 slides may be a bit mathy. This is something called a truth table. Has anyone seen this before? Can someone explain or give us a good working definition of what a truth table is?
Gives you the different options and then compares it to and then tells you whether a result would be true or false.
So this is kind of the formal definition of what we discussed. So we have A and B. So we have 2 true or false values, A and B. If we AND them, here's the results. So as we see, only if both of them are true is the result true. Else is going to be false.
So each condition you add, it gets exponentially less probable.
Yes. So this is a really restrictive operator, the AND operator. It's a really restrictive one because it's only true if only everything is true. Conversely, the OR is very flexible. It's very almost like a catch-all kind of thing.
So one needs to be met in order for it to be.
Correct. I don't expect you to memorize these truth tables or anything like that. This is just kind of let's formalize the definition a little bit. you'll learn these over time. So, we can do comparison, less than, equal, greater than, less than, they return true or false. So, is number of red crayons greater than number of blue crayons? True, true, false, false. Greater than and greater than or equal to. That's a pretty standard math concept.
Well, let me help you guys out now, because I have to do this all the time with my kids. Not great, but if you don't remember which one's greater than or less than, the less than sign is the one that's the L.
Oh.
It's your left hand.
Less
Left hand, less than, that's what I always tell them.
Oh, okay.
So,
What?
left hand is less than.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's good to know.
Let's get my kids says there's a
Well, yeah.
I just thought it was like an alligator. Yeah. The alligators always.
Well, sometimes you don't, when you're trying to read it, you don't
Yeah.
know which ones they're trying to say greater than or less than.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
so
you want it
it's,
like that. Just how, sometimes it comes in handy.
that does come in handy.
Unless you don't know the left from the right.
Which I had a few kids who did, so.
So
It's also a good way to know which hand is your left hand.
I do that probably way often than I should probably admit.
Yeah.
Left. So equality, Gus. You ran into this last night, right?
Yeah.
Using the equal sign to create a Boolean value. So in JavaScript, there's two types of equality. There's a soft equality and a hard equality. I know, right? Because of JavaScript. So we have double equal signs and triple equal signs. Double equal signs will try to convert types for you and then check for equality. Triple signs will check both value and type. So what does that mean? So we look at the example, we have three variables. We have score as a string, we have current score as a number, and we have our target score, 15, as a number, right? So if we check current score, does it equal the target? It's going to return a false. Same with triple equal sign. They both return the exact same thing. But if we look at current score, double equals score string, so we have the string 10, and we have the number 10. Double equal sign will do that conversion for you. And be like, yeah, it's the same thing. I trust you as the developer that you want me to compare these as numbers. So I'm going to convert that to a number and then compare.
So the two equals is what we did yesterday with the parse int. So
Yes.
it converts that into a number. So now it knows that it's looking for a number,
Yeah.
not two separate elements.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it doesn't care if it's a string of value.
It doesn't care. It will do its best to convert them to a standard type and give you a true or false value.
Why would you ever use the double equal compared to the triple? Because, you know, you would want your types to be the same compared.
You are on the right trail and literally about 30 seconds ahead of me. So that's really good. So triple equals, on the other hand, will also compare the types.
Okay, like our string.
It will also compare the types. So it'll say, hey, are these the same value? Are they the same type? It won't do that type conversion for you. It'll say, oh, you're comparing the string 10 with the number 10. Those aren't equal.
You're probably about to test. But, so it's better to say current score equals parsing score string.
Yep, as Daniel said, rarely should you ever use double equals. You should almost always, 99.9% of the time, use triple equals.
That's because JavaScript is not a type of language.
That's because JavaScript isn't a strongly typed language. Because JavaScript will try to do some coercion for you and try to judge and move around the types, which is okay in this kind of scenario. But as we grow our type library, there are more types than just number, string, function, and boolean. There's also object and arrays. As soon as we get to those more complex types, that conversion, you don't want that to happen. You want to know what's going on. You want that control. So it's always good to use the triple equals. Feeling good so far? Yep. Across the board, yep. Everyone has to nod here for me to go on. Yes. Alright. So here's a sample if. Let's put it kind of wrap it all together. If we have current score is 10, target is 15. If the current score is less than the target, try again. Else, display a message. Success message, loss message, whatever we're doing. So we're taking it, we're doing the comparison inside of the if to get a true or false value, and then we're doing logic based on that result. Now remember, it will only run try again or display message based on the value of that Boolean statement.
So what would happen in this case if your objects, one was string and one was number? Would it try to convert it?
Yes.
Test it?
Yep.
Could you then have a less than equal sign?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There's a less than equal sign, which does the same thing as triple equals. Yes, types get fun. Welcome to JavaScript. The Wild West where you can do everything and anything and nothing makes sense. So,
Wait.
Speaking of,
Go back to the previous one.
Yep.
So you're asking it to compare.
Yep.
What the current score.
Yep.
Versus the target.
Yep.
So if it's not equal or the same as the target, so if it's not 15,
Yep, if it's
Then
not
keep
15 or
going.
greater,
then keep going.
then try again. Yep.
Or, and if it matches, then stop it.
Well, it says equal, so if it is 15, then it still will try again until it gets 16.
Yeah.
And then that try again, you're supposed to put an event there or something?
Yeah, it's something. That's just a placeholder for do something else.
So this might be nitpicky, but let's say you had a constant current score of 15.1, let's say it was a double, right? And then the target's 15. Would it still be, would it compare based on the int?
No, it compares based on the decimals.
Because that's not, because it doesn't compare type, right?
Right.
You know it's a float.
So even if it was 15.3 and 15, it's going to compare 15.3 and 15.
But if you did less than equals, it would not, because they're two different types.
So in JavaScript, decimals and integers are the exact same type. They're all numbers. It doesn't make that distinction, as other languages do.
Like
So-
C#.
Like C#, near and dear to my heart. But yeah, like it doesn't care about that. It just says, oh, it's a number. That's it. So true and false, feeling good. Basic comparison, some branching of logic here. Feeling good, right? So let's see if we can change that. So we mentioned that JavaScript is weird, and it has its weird quirks, right? Well, as you stumble around the internet looking at if statements and other things, you're going to stumble over a concept that JavaScript has called truthy and falsy. So we know what a true and false are, right? We know like it's a hard value. Well, in JavaScript, you get the ability to say, is this value a truthy value or is it a falsy value? It's almost this weird abstract concept of rounding, which is a really good way to think about it. But it's saying, oh, is this something that is a value? So when I say truthy, we have that we can say if a value instead of if a Boolean, and it will evaluate it true or false. So all of these values are truthy. So if I do if hello world as a string, it would evaluate to true. It's not a Boolean. It doesn't make sense that it evaluate to true, but it's something. And those are falsy values.
So it says any string, even empty.
Oh,
And at the bottom of falsy, you see a
that's
string
a typo.
Oh, okay.
Which one's the typo?
The even empty. I'll go ahead and fix that right now. Yeah. Edit. I think that's the edit button. Yep.
So empty string is false.
Yes.
False.
Say that again.
So an empty string is falsy. So the falsy values are easy to remember. I would just memorize the falsy values and say everything else is a truthy value. It's false, 0, undefined, empty string, not a number, everything that means nothing inside JavaScript.
You should edit that to say any string unless empty.
Yeah.
Are the empty quotes like empty strings?
Yep.
Empty, false, false, true.
So if you wanted to say, if is cup empty, false, right?
Yep.
You would be able to do equals 0 as well, or equals undefined. You can't do that.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
So once you start comparing falsy values like that, things get weird.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting to see like what exactly happens because each one has its own unique edge case.
Okay.
So,
So in
like-
that case, you'd want to use false. You'd
Yes.
want to say, or if not isn't the cup empty.
Right. So like, just to kind of throw it out there, like not a number, you would think not a number should equal not a number, right? If I do not a number equals not a number, it's actually false. JavaScript, I know, right? JavaScript. But it's flexible and powerful enough for us to do these things. It's a very Unix and Linux-esque philosophy. We put all the trust on the developers, all the trust on the people. Because yes, you can do stupid stuff in it, but you can also do really clever stuff with it. So it's empowering for the developers to have that flexibility and functionality for that.
So they use the word truthy, which seems to be like something true, but actually doesn't relate at all to it. It just
It
applies
as
for
true.
that.
Yeah, it evaluates as true. So it's truthy-ish. Truthy-ish. Yes. It's a very fuzzy concept. This is kind of where, like, everything else like should be kind of like, okay, I get it. This is where we start getting a bit abstract in our thinking. So,
Where you say JavaScript is flexible, would you say that HTML and CSS are not?
right, they're more rigid.
So, if I have a variable.
Yep.
I don't know, John.
Yep.
And I give it, so let's just say, I give it a variable, say name.
Yep.
And in there I say equals John.
Yep.
But then somewhere down the road, I change a name to just be empty.
Yep.
I can do if name.
Yep.
To see if there's any value in there.
Yep.
And if there, is not, then hey, you forgot to add a name.
So just to kind of go off that, I'm going to bring up the REPL so we can run some line of codes.
What's REPL?
The console. REPL
Oh,
read
oh,
eval
yeah.
print loop.
Oh, okay.
So if we do let name equals John, right? If name, then I want a console.log, your name is else just going to give it some formatting here. Notice how I'm indenting my code. So if name, since name is a string, it's something, it's evaluating to true, and it's printing out your name is John.
What's it comparing to?
That's the whole concept of truthy there. It's saying, oh, you gave me a string, it has a value, it's not nothing, it's not an empty string. So it's a string. So I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna convert that into a true value for you.
Is it comparing to like an empty string on the other side?
It's just saying, is it something?
Is asking the question.
Yeah, it's asking the question, is it something, is it
Is
not?
there something in here?
One of them two. Chris is
So if you want to do something all the time, can you just say if true?
Yep.
And then you would just say, because
Yep.
true is truthy.
Yep, true is true.
Well, kind of like that, like, so I understand if name
Mm-hmm.
equals your name is John, would there be any situation where there would be an else?
So like if we go and do name equals nothing, like for some reason like reset a form or something like that, and run that exact same line of code.
So this is saying like inside your code, like how you have certain things that have name on them.
So you do basically, you do valid checking on fields.
Yeah.
And
So you can say like does this name have a value? Is it something?
But then where does John come out? Does John come in the code? Does it come out in the main like web page? Where's
It could come from the web page, it could come from the code. Where it came from doesn't matter. Just so much as it has a value.
just the value is John?
Yeah.
What's the relevance in that? What?
There's no relevance.
So
Yeah.
like why is it John or why would we want to do something like this?
Why would you want to do something like that?
For page validation, for data to kind of double check yourself to make sure that something's there. So like, so for your scoreboard last night, you could check if the user has inputted a team for team one. You can say if team one name or team one name, display it, else ask the user for it. So you can use it to kind of double check the data that's coming in from the user or data that's coming in from someplace else.
So that would be what you put in, like if you're on a web page and you like put in your username and your password, and if you don't like put in your password, whatever, it comes in and says like you need to enter this.
Yep.
That's what that would do.
Yep.
Okay.
I was just saying, you left that field blank,
Yes.
go back and
Yeah.
put the
That's
statement
like-
in.
So is that the same as a required field?
It could be used to do that, yes.
But
You
it's
can
not the
use this
only
logic
use
to make
case.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said, but it's not the only use case.
Yeah, it's not the only use case, but if that's
Like,
a
but
use
so
case.
it's not, so
It's not.
so you're basically telling the user they need to put something in there.
Yes,
So
you
it's
can,
not required, but you can't advance or you can't do the next step
right.
until
Until
you've
it's true.
done something
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Okay.
You can use this idea to do that, yes.
That puts a little more sense.
And is that also like goes back to what Alexis was saying, an email? So you'd also have to define, like if you're asking for an email,
Mhm.
that it contains an @ symbol and
Yes.
a dot or something like that. So that would be, like, so in order for that to happen, it needs to meet these two.
Yep.
Or two parameters, these two conditions.
Yes. Yep. So how are we feeling? Core concepts are kind of treading water right now. All right, so it is. I don't have my watch on today. 10:31. Where's my watch? 10:31. Let's take a 10:32. Let's take a 13-minute break.
Oh, you did 32.
Yeah, 13.
Oh.
Come back at 10:45. Come back at 10:45, and we'll build something that demonstrates some true and false stuff. How's that sound?
Good.
Yeah. Goody, right? Yeah.